Hi, then, folks. Today's hearing of the Subcommittee on Veterans from Monday, January 27, 2025 is now in session. Folks, I know this is a bit of a deviation from traditional practice in a context like this, but I'd like to take a moment both to honor those who have served and to remind us of our collective duty to a greater good, to have us all do the Pledge of Allegiance, if you're okay, if you're comfortable with that.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for indulging me in that. This is our first hearing, and so our first order of business is to get to know each other a little bit better. And I do want to be very clear and upfront and acknowledge that I know there are some in the room who are concerned that this committee does not have its own jurisdiction, that we are in fact a subcommittee, the Agriculture Committee. But I'd like to take a moment to ask you for a favor. Give me a chance. If there's stuff that needs to be done differently, if there's stuff that we need to do more of, please come talk to me and we'll do the best that we can. We will endeavor to give this jurisdiction and everyone who visits it the respect that they deserve and the time that it takes to do the work we need to do. So again, give me a chance, let me know when I screw up, and we'll do better. Now that being said, a number of you have served in the armed forces, and I'd like to just take a brief moment to let you know sort of my point of connection to this issue. Because I think it's important conceptually for how we approach veterans and military affairs. I have never served. I want to start with that. I have never been in the military. I've never served. It's something I'm deeply conscious of. My grandfather on one side was a chaplain at the Battle of the Bulge. My grandfather on the other side was a medic in World War II in the Pacific. My eldest uncle, my father's side, fought in Korea. The next uncle, I can't tell you what he did, and I can't tell you where he was in the 1960s. Then my father fought in Vietnam, and his younger brother fought in Vietnam. On the other side of the family, my other uncle fought in Vietnam. Very recently, my cousin retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Corps of Engineers, and my other cousin was a medic in the Guard. I have not served, but I am the only person in my family about 100 years who hasn't. And I think that's important as we think about our duty to our veterans, is to understand that they are members of communities and that those who serve have impacts on those who haven't. So that's a very important way that I think about the issues that we'll be dealing with this session. Now that being said, my name's Eric. I'm gonna be your chair. Senator Anderson will be our co-chair for the next week or two. I represent District 14, which is the greater St. Cloud area. And now we're gonna go around the horn and everyone's gonna say hi. So let's start with Senator Kunesh, if we could, please.
Well, I'm glad I got here in time. I'm State Senator Mary Kunesh. I represent District 39, which are the communities of St. Anthony Village and New Brighton, Columbia Heights, and Hilltop, Fridley, Spring Lake Park. I myself did not serve, but I have brothers that served. My father was over in Japan after the war, and my grandpa was a cook on a ship during World War II. We have his diaries, which are just absolutely fascinating. But I'm really, really proud, and I'm really happy that I get to serve on this committee and do our best for our veterans. Thank you.
My name's Gene Dornick. I serve District 23, which is all of Freeborn County, most of Mower County, and then parts of Steele, Waseco, and Faribault. Bigger communities are Albert Lee and Austin. My father served in the Air Force. I did not, but I want to just thank you, for each and every one of you, for your service to our country. We are all indebted to you, and we just appreciate your work, and I look forward to the work that we do in this committee.
I'm Tom Cheetah. I'm Senator Anderson's committee administrator, and I also cover the Veterans Committee as a Republican researcher.
Senator Bruce Anderson, represent Senate District 29, which is most of Wright County, a little bit of Meeker County, and a smidgen of Hennepin County, where the city of Rockford spills over. I served in the military for 31 years. My father was in World War II, had 10 uncles that served during World War II and Korea, and I have a daughter that is presently in the Air Force, just going on 30 years. She just got her orders back in March for the Pentagon, and she was home for Christmas. Had an opportunity to talk with her, but can't talk business with her because she's in intelligence. And when I talk to my Army people, they think that's an oxymoron. So, but I do talk a little bit about what's going on and her schedule, and she's basically on the move all the time around the world. She's a single gal, but she loves her job, and she's scheduled for getting out with 32 years of service. But that's easier said than done because she's only 49, so we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and committee members, I'm Andrew Erickson. I'm the fiscal analyst for the committee with Senate Council Research and Fiscal Analysis. I also cover state gov, elections, and pensions.
Mr. Chair of the committee, I'm Tom Watson, counsel at the Senate Council Fiscal Research and Fiscal Analysis. I also cover local government issues and higher education.
And I am Nick Roth. I am the co-CA for the subcommittee.
My name's Keely, and I'm the committee legislative assistant for this committee.
I'm Judy Seeberger, Senator for District 41. My district is on the east side of the metro. It covers the towns of Grant, Lake Elmo, Afton, the Lakeland cities, Cottage Grove, and Hastings. My husband just retired after 31 years in the Navy, so I come at this with a little bit different perspective than that of the military spouse. So I spent a lot of time as a single parent, keeping the household together while he was off working that job. My father was drafted into the Army, and so he has a different perspective on service in the military. But my father's father, my grandfather, actually served in World War I in the trenches in France.
Good afternoon, everybody. Zach Duckworth, Senate District 57, which is Lakeville, Elko, Newmarket, Credit River, and the Township of Eureka. Senator Anderson, I noticed you said 31 years of service. That's impressive, but I couldn't help but notice your daughter plans on doing at least 32, so I see what she did there. In March, I will hit my 20-year mark as a member of the Minnesota Army National Guard and come from a family with a lot of history of service to our country in the armed forces, so very grateful to be a part of this committee. Thank you.
I'm Senator Rob Kupek. I'm Senate District 4. I'm based over in Moorhead, most of Clay County, a good portion of Becker County. I've worked pretty closely with some of my local veterans groups up there. Previously, before being elected to the Senate, I worked in the television industry, and I was so lucky to get put on an honor flight. And to get to go to Washington, D.C. and tour those monuments with our veterans and tell the stories and see them, in some cases, grandfathers tell stories to their grandchildren that they had no idea, and the emotions that those veterans had and of the bond that they carried when they went on that flight was really something to see. So very proud to be on this committee.
I'm Senator Nate Wiesenberg. I'm from Senate District 10. I was not in the military, but I've got family on both sides, Army, Navy, Marines, and we need to do everything we can to help our veterans, because if we didn't have you, we wouldn't be here, and we don't do enough, I feel, and we need to do more, and we need to say thank you, so thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may real fast, Senator Wiesenberg, for everybody up here, could you just remind us what happens to be in your district?
Sorry, I was going to bring it up. Camp Ripley is in my district as well. And I've spent much time out there as a civilian doing wildlife research, but I've worked out there for almost 20 years and, working with lots of people in the military. So Zach's still got to bring me up there and shoot some fun guns yet, though.
Everybody has to say hi. There's no cheap seats in democracy. Come up and say hello.
I'm part of the committee Senate page. My name is Sunny Amenti.
I'm also a city committee page. My name is Michael Edwards.
Also a committee page. My name is Olivia Mackel. Matt Kelleher with Senate Research.
Haley Bloom-Peterson with Senate DFL Research.
So we're the folks who are going to be working for you. Now you know. Now to our first official order of business, if we could. We have a presentation by the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs doing an overview. If you could, please, folks, come up, have a seat. Before you say anything, obviously, as you know, please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair Putnam, members, Chair Anderson. For the record, my name is Brad Lindsay. I'm the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. Part of my introduction, I'll also throw in, I'm an Army veteran. I served in the regular Army and also the U.S. Army Reserve for about 13, 14 years total. Between the two, I served the first year of Operation Iraqi Freedom, so I am an Iraq vet, as well as a veteran of operations in Panama when I was in the regular Army. My team are also all veterans, and interestingly enough, and in fact I'm a little proud of, they're all non-commissioned officers as well, so during their service. So thank you for having us. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today before your subcommittee on veterans and provide an overview of the department. As I said, I'm joined today by Deputy Commissioner Ben Johnson, who leads our Programs and Services Division, and Deputy Commissioner Eric Maintanen, who leads our Healthcare Division, and our Director of Government Affairs, John Kelly. I'm going to kick off the overview presentation and then turn it to my deputies to walk through the portions that cover their divisions, because they are NCOs and I make them work for a living. All right, slides are up. So just what we're going to go over today, our overview. The graphic there is kind of a map of the state, which shows locations of our veterans' homes, of which we have 8, our state veterans cemeteries, of which we have 4, and then our office locations where we have MDVA staff providing assistance to veterans all throughout the state. Not completely inclusive. We do have folks in campuses all across the state providing assistance to our folks who are attending higher education. We also have folks who are on our tribal reservations as well, tribal veteran service officers. So that's the big spots on the map, I will say. We're going to go through our strategic goals. Our Programs and Services Division is going to talk to you, our Healthcare Division. Then we'll go through the agency budget and then our priority initiatives. Next slide. All right. So our mission is serving Minnesota veterans, their dependents, and survivors by connecting them with the federal and state care and benefits they have earned. It's our vision to fulfill the needs of Minnesota veterans and their families by providing proven and innovative programs and services to maximize their quality of life. Part of our strategic goals are to ensure a seamless continuum of support that addresses the evolving needs of veterans, increase veteran awareness and participation in veterans programs, be exemplary stewards of our resources, and develop and sustain and retain the quality of our workforce. Who we serve. So according to the VA, and I always like to say, nobody knows exactly. These are estimates that the VA puts together through the census and the community surveys that are done every 5 years as well. But based on those numbers, there are more than 286,000 veterans in Minnesota, or about 5.15% of the state population. And that's VA numbers as of September 30th of 24. We serve veterans in all 87 Minnesota counties, and approximately 55,000 Minnesota veterans have served post 9/11. If you look at the graphics there, those are some of the breakdowns from our fiscal year 24 annual report, which we handed out to all of you. It's hot off the press and some really good information and really covers the many, many areas that we're involved with in assisting our veterans across the state. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Commissioner Ben Johnson and Deputy Commissioner Eric Maintenon to walk through the overview of the two divisions. Ben, Mr. Chair.
Chair, members, good afternoon. My name is Ben Johnson. I am Deputy Commissioner for Programs and Services with the MDVA. Been with the agency a little over 10 years. I'm also an active duty veteran of the United States Navy. I actually withdrew from college after September 11th, enlisted, and spent 6 years, multiple deployments, and happy to be back in Minnesota serving veterans and the folks who came out of service a little less well off than I did. In terms of the Programs and Services Division, we are the original half of the MDVA. Veterans Healthcare has been included as a part of our operations over the last, I think, 12 to 15 years. I think under Governor Pawlenty, we combined forces. But as an originator, our Programs and Services team really is here to assist veterans and their families securing the benefits that they've earned. They're entitled to these benefits through their service or through the service of their loved ones. We administer programs to meet the needs for these eligible individuals, their dependents, and survivors. So I'm going to talk through, there's a slide that outlines it, and then I'll give some specific details. Chair, members, if there are any questions during the presentation, I'm happy to answer them, or we can hold them for after. It's your call, sir. All right, so within the Programs and Services Division, these are our high-level look at what we are offering. So federal VA claims assistance, you might have heard of disability claims, comp and pension, so compensation and pension claims. We work, as the Commissioner mentioned, on veterans employment and education, so we work on campuses throughout the state of Minnesota to make sure that veterans who are returning to civilian life, reacclimating, have the support they need to get the degrees, the education, on-the-job training, apprenticeship work as they see fit. Our state veteran cemeteries and memorial affairs, the legislature has seen fit to help us expand our footprint. Also in your district, Senator, is the Little Falls Veteran Cemetery. We are now comprised of 4, and we have authorization to expand to a 5th state veteran cemetery. The Veterans Benefits Division includes some smaller areas in terms of the number of people we have working on staff, but no less important. The State Soldiers Assistance Program actually last year celebrated the 100th anniversary. That has been in statute and in operation for 100 years. And really that was the originator of services to veterans in the state of Minnesota. And then finally, our biggest initiative at this point is the homeless veterans work. That team has really made significant strides in the last 10 years. It's been a primary focus for the last 2 administrations and for Commissioner Lindsay. In veterans homelessness, we have 9 out of 10 continuums of care, and we are really striving to put the resources to work that you have given us over the last 10 years again to make sure that every veteran in the state of Minnesota has an opportunity to have safe and stable housing and the supports necessary to maintain that housing. So backing up to the first area of operations, that federal claims assistance, we have physical locations in St. Paul at the Whipple Building and Fargo at the VA healthcare system in Fargo. We represent veterans and their dependents who are looking for federal benefits, including service-connected disability compensation, non-service connected pensions, voc rehab, educational benefits. So these are our people who are working directly with county veteran service officers throughout the state of Minnesota and independently to make sure that if someone comes out of service with an issue, an injury, or something related to their service or exacerbated by their service, that we're making sure that they have the resources they need to be healthy and happy. Typically, that's the first step to getting access to VA healthcare systems at the federal level as well. Our field and tribal operations, again, this is outreach for claimants who don't normally seek benefits through the normal course of business, maybe cultural differences. We have tribal veteran service officers available at all of the tribes throughout the state of Minnesota. Had the pleasure of sitting with Senator Kunesh at the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council last month, hear about the work that's getting done on behalf of our tribes, but also was able to represent the work that our tribal veteran service officers are doing. It's a great program, and we're very proud of it. Another area of focus, again, is our Women Veterans Program. So we have a specific line item to make sure that women veterans who are, in some cases, suffering from very specific gender-related issues, that we have the supports available to them to make sure that they have what they need to be successful in the communities as well. That is one area where women veterans is increasing. The number of women veterans is increasing as a portion of the overall population of veterans, and that's simply the result of more women choosing to serve as well. So I mentioned the Higher Education Veterans Program. Again, this is an area of support for veterans and current service members and families at Minnesota colleges and universities. The goal here really is to make sure that veterans have all the resources they need, whether that be help accessing for the initial enrollments, helping find coursework, if they need a place to come and study, making sure that they have the resources they need and that they understand the federal benefits that they're entitled to. So if there's federal GI Bill or Minnesota GI Bill available to them, that we can help them acclimate to life in the civilian world, typically through additional educational opportunities. And so this third bullet, I think, is important. The unique needs of a veteran. It's something that we talk about, but I don't think people recognize that coming back to the civilian world can be a challenge. And maybe you don't have the study skills you need. Maybe you don't understand how people interact or aren't thinking about the service members around the world. Making sure that the institutions know how to handle those veterans and make sure that they're ready to be successful as well. Trying to also translate some of that military experience into the civilian world and make sure that the schools are understanding there's some specific and unique skill sets that veterans typically have earned or learned. We want to make sure that the colleges are helping recognize that. The Minnesota GI Bill I mentioned is in a last dollar in program available to Minnesota veterans, those currently serving and some dependents of deceased or severely disabled. The Minnesota GI Bill, again, is up to $15,000. We are working through the process of making it not just one-time funding, but that it is available up to that amount, that we've got money available every semester through a person's enrollment in schools. And it doesn't have to just be for the typical tuition or books. It can be for as noted there, on-the-job training or apprenticeships. We've also been able to expand it with the help of the legislature for licensing and certification. So if we have veterans who are going to school to be a nurse or we think about licenses for peace officers, that we want to be able to help them afford the licensing costs. Those applications aren't always free. So that's another area that was identified, and we've been able to secure that authorization. The state approving agency is a portion of our veterans education and occupational resources, and this really is a critical partnership with federal VA to make sure that the schools that are serving our veterans have the correct education and training programs available and that they're vetted, so that we don't have people taking advantage of the funding that's available to veterans, but not delivering on the quality of education that they need. So the state approving agency is a pretty critical team in that regard. I mentioned the OJT and apprenticeship program. This is an area that we work with a lot on DEED, Department of Employment and Economic Development, making sure that we are getting out to the trades and making sure that folks that have an interest in maybe not traditional higher education, but just getting into the trades have the resources and support that they need. And finally, I think in this area is a critical importance as well. We've got the Veterans Preference Act. So Veterans Preference is it's coverage and a benefit to veterans who have an opportunity to have that additional layer of support. The Veterans Preference Act is not applicable to all state employees, to all employees in the state of Minnesota, but state employees are covered, and a lot of municipalities and communities have the Veterans Preference available as well. So it's additional opportunities for hiring as well as for discharge. I led with this 100-year celebration, State Soldiers Assistance Program. These are veterans benefits, including dental and optical. These are mostly for veterans who have limited income or assets, making sure that they have some of the basic necessities to get an annual optical exam, get the dental taken care of and cleanings. We work with dental providers. We supply them with vouchers to offset the costs, make sure that if a veteran needs dentures or extractions, that we can make sure that that's affordable to them. And then we've got the emergency assistance. This is one of those areas where we understand that not everyone has the ability. I think the most common example that we give is you lose your furnace in December or January in Minnesota and you don't have $15,000 laying around. We can help through the process with the county veteran service officer to make sure they have the resources to backfill and make that purchase and keep their family safe and healthy. And then a couple of programming notes here. The LinkVet, we've been working on this LinkVet line, actually having staffed. We've been working with the Minnesota State Colleges to have a phone staffed and have that answered. If people call and have questions about veterans benefits, that we can put them in touch with someone who has an answer for them. It's also available online. And really, the biggest thing in this area is that partnership throughout the state of Minnesota. You may not always know who to call, but if you know to call that 188 Link Vet, that you will get an answer from someone, and they can either point you in the right direction or answer on the phone live in real time. So the Minnesota Service Corps, Corps represents case management, outreach, referral, and education. This is an area that Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs has been partnering with Lutheran Social Services on for a number of years. They have been really successful partners of ours, have been basically the most consistent response to our RFPs to find community providers to help with financial counseling, mental and chemical dependency counseling, family counseling, this addiction counseling, making sure that we have trained providers in the community. This partnership is not, they are not employees of MDVA. It's a contractual relationship, which allows us to work with them to identify new areas without necessarily standing up additional FTEs within programs and services or MDVA. We found it to be a very beneficial relationship. Lutheran Social Services is also working with us on ways to find opportunities to help solve things like food instability. There's a lot of resources in the metro area for veterans or families with food instability, but not necessarily in greater Minnesota. That's one area that we're looking at expanding that relationship. All right. And I think that slide speaks for itself. Again, our goal is to provide the most dignified burial available for veterans, spouses, and certain dependents. This is an area that we take a lot of pride in. We've been receiving acknowledgement from the federal VA year over year. I was surprised at the exacting standards that the National Cemetery Administration has for things like, are all of your headstones plumb? Are they even? Are they spaced correctly? Even a half an inch out of line, they'll ding you on it in their inspections, and our teams have been just doing amazing work. We've got successes at Little Falls, Preston, and Duluth. Redwood Falls is our newest, opened 2 years ago. I expect when they get their next evaluation that they'll be that successful as well. Really proud of the teams at the cemeteries. Sometimes that interment is the only thing that a family's asking for, a veteran's looking for, is a dignified burial. So we've got a pretty good blanket of the state. You all gave us authorization to do one in Bemidji as well. That's the last underserved area, and we're going to work to make that a reality. I'm going to cover briefly the grants program and then pass it along to my counterpart for the Veterans Healthcare. Again, the grants program is run out of our central office, so we've got the 2 divisions and then our central office support staff. And our grants program works to support operations for veteran service organizations, CVSOs, MACV, who's here, and support our troops grants, which is shared between MDVA and the Department of Military Affairs. And so those are grants for groups who have novel approaches to solving veterans issues, or in the case of the Department of Military Affairs, service members and families who may need a little additional assistance. So our support our troops grants are mostly funded through license plate sales. We've been eyeing those new black plates with some envy because those things seem to be everywhere. And so we're going to try and figure out a way to continue to push for more support for the SOT accounts by way of maybe working with the National Guard on some overhauls of the actual plate itself. So happy to answer any questions about the grants program or programs and services generally. That's a lot to take in, I appreciate, but we're always available.
Members, do we have any questions at this point? It's my instinct is that we would, Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Johnson, you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation that we have about 286,000 veterans, or approximately 5.15, and then you go into all the different apprentice situations and the GI Bill and things like that. Do we know, or do you have statistics on the number of veterans? I know we've talked before in Veterans Committee about vets businesses, but how many veterans? I know we got lots who've retired like myself and members here, but how many veterans do you know are actually in the workforce today of those 286,000?
Mr. Johnson.
Chair, I don't have that specific information for how many are in the workforce. Happy to supply it for you. Veteran-owned small businesses is one area that we work really hard on, and I'm sure we can pull some numbers for you and get that to the committee.
That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Senator Anderson. Thanks. Members, any other questions of this portion of the presentation? Let's keep rolling.
Chair, members, my name is Eric Maintenon. I'm Deputy Commissioner for the Healthcare Division. I'd like to thank you for your past support of our veterans' homes and MDVA. I'm an Army Guard veteran, Gulf War, Desert Storm, and Desert Shield as well. I've been in this role for about a year and a half now as Deputy Commissioner for MDVA Healthcare Division. It's an exciting time to be at MDVA, especially in the Healthcare Division, with the opening of our 3 new veterans' homes. And I'm looking forward to telling you a little bit about how we've accomplished that and our successes. With our veterans' homes, the services that we offer are a plethora of services, including skilled nursing care, memory care, domiciliary care. We have private resident rooms. Sometimes we have double occupancy rooms or greater in some of our older facilities. We have a mobile dental clinic. We have adult day. And we're recognized by many outside or external organizations about our wonderful quality that we provide, meaning satisfaction and quality of care. We offer a home-like atmosphere for our veterans, their families, and our communities. And we're really excited to be here today to tell you a little bit more about those. Some of those awards that we've received are from the U.S. News and World Report, Newsweek, Best Nursing Homes, Pinnacle Quality Results with regards to satisfaction and the high levels of satisfaction and the care that we provide, and how we're measured by these external organizations who query and survey our veterans and their families about the care that we provide. So we are very proud of the care that we provide from both a quality and a satisfaction standpoint. We are the only campus in the country that has 3 levels of care on one campus, and that's our flagship campus, the largest campus with 300 skilled beds in Minneapolis. We have adult day, we call it Vets Club on that same campus, and we have a domiciliary on the Minneapolis campus in a split program with our colleagues over in the Hastings as well. So it's one program, 2 sites. For our veterans' homes, we continue to offer a variety of services, and this is all-inclusive for our homes, including the domiciliary. Domiciliary, we really want to provide the best care environment for our residents, and it makes a big difference when we are providing those noted items. We have 24-hour skilled nursing facility, and that's on all of our campuses except for the Hastings and Minneapolis domiciliary. That is a boarding care or domiciliary type of environment. We have medical services. We have a medical services team that includes physicians and nurse practitioners, and we have dementia specialty care units. We have adult day, as I mentioned, on the Minneapolis campus. We offer rehabilitation services that are quite astounding, where I've had family members that have noticed significant improvements in the physical abilities of their loved ones who are staying are in our campuses, in our facilities. Significant dietetic and nutritional services with our team. Some of those services where we offer in a few of our homes homegrown or organic food that is grown by the residents and provided in their canteens as well. It's an exciting opportunity for us. We have resident fitness and restorative care, recreational therapy, meaning we get the veterans out into the communities. And some of the campuses, they're fishing. Others, they're going out to events. It's just a very dynamic and busy and a good opportunity for the veterans to get out and explore the communities and attend events. Well, significant social services along with mental health and behavioral health services. We are trying to grow and expand that particular area in order to meet the needs of our population that we have served. We're noticing differences with regards to those who have been involved with different conflicts from a population segmentation standpoint, and those that are in our care at the present time are requiring additional behavioral health assistance and services, so we are providing that for them. I'm very proud that we have our own pharmacy that provides pharmaceuticals to each of our homes that canvass across the state. It just isn't a one-setting Minneapolis campus. This is a pharmacy that operates with precision and efficiency and provides pharmaceuticals to our veterans' homes in a way that is really efficient for us at MDVA, and in a good quality of sense for the veterans that we are serving. We have spiritual care with chaplains, transportation, dental. We have a dental operation that is significant, and this is really meaningful for many of our veterans and the families as well. We have drug and alcohol treatment, work therapy, which is, I think, unique and very helpful for many of the veterans who have been participating in this, and they provide wonderful results. Sometimes they work in the canteen, sometimes in the dish room, sometimes on the grounds of our environment, and sometimes in other environmental conditions. And I think that those veterans that I speak with who are involved with this particular activity, they really appreciate the opportunity to provide some care, give back, we'll say. And we have volunteer programs, significant volunteer programs where we track the number of hours by our volunteers, and it is family members, it is general community members, it is supporters of veterans and the military that come to us and ask to volunteer, and they provide significant contributions to the life and enrichment of our veterans that we serve. I'd like to go into our budget. We have 3 segments there for you to have a look at, and that includes 8 veterans homes in our operating budget, suicide prevention, and then our Community Health Navigators program. Our suicide prevention team is really engaging all their parts of the state of Minnesota enterprise from the standpoint of providing some synergy to our veterans in our communities that we serve, in particular the rural areas and outstate Minnesota areas. The Community Health Navigators is a pilot program that we are moving forward, and this provides social work resources, or will provide social work resources in non-VA facilities in the future, just around the corner. We're hoping this year. That's the plan. And they will then meet veterans at the time of need when they present to the emergency rooms in non-VA facilities, when they're in the acute care setting or in the hospital, in order to help them with regards to meeting their needs and resources, and then navigating them back to the VA as well for their care. And then we have our revenue provided there for you. I'll just summarize the bottom items, which includes for 2024 fiscal year, we have 1,253 FTEs, salary and benefits of $124 million, $249,000, and then we have non-salaries of expenses of $35 million. Chair, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Deputy Commissioner Ben Johnson.
Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson.
Chair, members, a quick overview. You'll notice a significant number of line items in the programs and services budget. Those above the line include things that are ongoing funds. These are all part of the base budget for last year and this year, coming to a close at the end of FY25. So the claims central office division is actually included in both programs and services and the healthcare team. That is our central office operations. The claims division, education, SSAP are all ongoing areas of support. Our tenancy support, temporary housing are both areas where we are working with our partners primarily at MACV, but also through the Homeless Veterans Registry to make sure that we've got resources available for veterans experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness. The veterans cemeteries, again, is a line item specific to the operations of the state veterans cemeteries that we have in existence. Again, the authorization for a 5th one in Bemidji, we will be working to move that ahead. These other line items are no less important, but they are areas that the legislature has seen fit to include as line items in the Omnibus Veterans Bill. You will hear that phrase, Omnibus Veterans Bill, from a lot of groups today, I hope. I'm happy to be the first to say it out loud. Prioritizing veterans and military affairs, getting it out of the political realm, having it be a nonpartisan, bipartisan effort. These are some areas where legislators have seen fit to support veterans activities throughout the state that are not specific to MDVA. Some of them are, but I think it's an area that is certainly an opportunity to continue to support veterans throughout the state of Minnesota. The FTE counts, again, from FY24, the salary and benefit and non-salary components make up a portion of our operating budget. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to talk a couple of priority initiatives, but Chair, I want to acknowledge the time. Are we okay to do a few more slides, sir?
Certainly, thank you, Mr. Johnson, for being conscientious, but we got a little bit more time, a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take it. So the two highest priorities that we've got currently are the next two slides. I'll do the first, and then Deputy Maton will do the second. Ending veterans homelessness is a priority, and I think it goes across political lines. It's something that the state has focused on, the federal government has focused on. The phrase is rare, brief, and non-recurring, and that's the goal for any veteran. He's experiencing homelessness, or the family experiencing homelessness, or at risk of homelessness. So we're working across the spectrum, nonprofits, public partners throughout the state of Minnesota. That homeless veterans registry, we've got a by name list of those we've identified as homeless, making sure that we've got providers touching on and reviewing their cases every other week. It's a constant process, and we're always updating it. You'll see a screenshot of our homeless veterans registry dashboard. This is available on the internet. We update it almost daily. I'm happy to report that the number you see on there now, 195, is a little dated. As of today, we're down to 186. Again, by name, we've got plans in place for all of these veterans to identify, get them stable housing, get them the support and services that they need, help them get back on their feet, and maybe get out of the registry and into a successful independent living situation where we can then pivot those resources to help the next individual veteran or their family. The SOAR program is another one. This is initial SSI, SSDI. It's an approach to get someone who maybe has no income, get that first step towards getting them some solvency. So helping them process Social Security applications, and that's our SOAR team. Yeah, ending veterans homelessness continues to be a priority, and we can't get there without your assistance. So thank you for that. I'll turn it back to Deputy Commissioner Maton for that other portion that he touched on earlier.
Chair, members, thank you. Preventing veteran suicides is of utmost importance to us. We have in the state of Minnesota approximately 100 suicide deaths occurring on an annual basis. We've made this a priority for us with our suicide prevention team. As I mentioned, we are collaborating quite extensively for synergy in this regard for this priority with our colleagues across the state, and in particular using analytics and data in order to really decide and determine how best we can support the needs of our veterans, their families, and our communities in the state, across the state, for this particular endeavor. We're looking for funding as well of $1.65 million to support a statewide initiative for veteran suicide prevention, as noted here, and we can go into some details in the future with regards to that request as well. Here's our website with regards to our services. We're very proud to start using technology, so we have a calendar on our website with all the events that are veteran-oriented and non-veteran oriented that are related to suicide prevention across the state, so that way we can have a better idea of those opportunities that are out there to support the needs of our veterans and their families across the state of Minnesota. And we plan to geomap that in the future as well, so that way we can have a look at it by location. If you have some questions, please contact the MDVA. We have our minnesotaveteran.org website for you, along with, as Deputy Commissioner Johnson had mentioned, 888-LINK-VET, which is quite important to us from the standpoint of being there at the time of need for responses to veterans' needs and their families as well. County Veteran Service officers are super important to us, and we collaborate significantly with them. And I would just like to add another plug, which is that our veterans' homes, we're so proud of them, especially the new ones. We have virtual tours on our website now of all of our homes, and they are wonderful. It gives you an idea of the quality of infrastructure that we have and we want to maintain with regards to our state resources. So thank you very much for the support and the time today, Chair. And if you have questions, we have John Kelly is here, Mr. Kelly.
Thanks very much, gentlemen. Members, do we have any brief, efficient questions? Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Going over the healthcare budget that you did, along with the programs and service budget, that was for 24-25. Will that then look like that for your 26-27 budget also?
Mr. Kelly.
Chair, for the record, John Kelly, Director of Government Affairs for the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. In the governor's budget for MDVA, There is an operating adjustment for the healthcare division and an operating adjustment for the programs and services division. So we will be coming before the committee to ask for additional resources to keep up with salary and other costs for the both divisions. So we are asking for an increase this session.
Thank you.
Members, any other questions? Thank you very much to our friends at the Minnesota Department of Veteran Affairs, Mr. Kelly, Commissioner Lindsay, Commissioner Mettinen, and Commissioner Johnson. Thank you all for visiting with us. Now, members, our next order of business is the Minnesota Department of Military Affairs, who will be giving us an overview of the stuff that they do. Gentlemen, if you would, please state your name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Don Kerr, and I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Department of Military Affairs. I'm here on behalf of Major General Sean Mankey, who is on federal duty in Europe this week at a European strategy conference. He does that a lot. It's one of those things that he's got a really busy job. It's difficult to coordinate his schedule to get him here, but he wishes to be here. And Mr. Chair, we still owe you an appointment to come have a sit down with you, and we'll definitely get to that as soon as we can.
So that's more important than this? I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I'm sorry, say again?
No, I was.
Accompanied today by Lieutenant Colonel Eric Athman, who is our Director of Military Operations for the Department of Military Affairs. Eric, I'm going to introduce yourself for the record.
Lieutenant Colonel Eric Athman, Director of Military Affairs for Operations. Happy to be here today. Happy to give testimony and answer any questions the team may have. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, we're going to follow suit with the Department of Veterans Affairs and back the second dump truck up here, and we're going to throw a lot of information at you, but I will try to be very sensitive about the time, and I'm going to try to save some for the end, which is what I think you'll be most interested in, which is what our request will be for next year. But if you go to the next slide, please. This is a general path that our overview is going to follow. And next slide. And this one's just an absolute straight placeholder. That's a photograph, by the way, of some visitors to the 148th Fighter Wing in Duluth, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Next slide. So your National Guard is comprised of about 13,000 soldiers and airmen. The number moves around on a daily basis, but that's a rough order of magnitude idea of where that is, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. We're very proud of the performance of your Minnesota National Guard units, and we think we've been very successful in selling the brand, if you will, and living up to the expectations that the federal government has for us, and that has resulted in some positive things for the Minnesota National Guard, and I'll talk about those a little bit. So the next slide, the National Guard, it's an interesting thing. So the National Guard is actually the constitutional militia, and it serves two masters. It's under state control almost all of the time, but when necessary, the President or the Congress can call the National Guard into federal service, and that's been necessary a lot more lately than it used to be, but there are some very clear criteria that are laid out in law for when that can occur. And the National Guard has really transitioned from being a strategic reserve to the Army and the Air Force to being really part of the operational force. And our units are typically scheduled into rotational missions around the globe. As part of that, though, we swear a dual oath. There's an oath to the federal government and an oath to the state of Minnesota. And so that dual mission is there. Quickly, an org chart, because no military briefing would be complete without an org chart. This basically just lays out that Major General Mankey in the purple box on the top has joint responsibilities over Army and Air Forces and state civilians. Green, the Army National Guard units, working directly for him. There is an Army component staff. There's also an Air component staff and a joint staff. All three of those staffs have different functions. The Army component staff measures Army component performance. The Air staff, Air component performance, and the joint staff exists to employ the National Guard when ordered into service in the state operationally. So things like recruiting, strength maintenance, equipping the force, those all fall into the Army and the Air staff, whereas the employment of the force falls into the joint staff. So it seems like there's a lot of overhead there, but they all have very significant things to do. And then in a way too large a depiction of what my role is over there on the gray side, we also have a component of the State Department of Military Affairs. There are about 400 employees of the Department of Military Affairs, and we oversee and support the operations of the National Guard while they're in state service. So I have a bunch of folks that work for me, and that's where most of our budget goes, is to pay those folks. For example, we provide security to the air bases and to the Camp Ripley and the Army Aviation Support Facilities with state employees who are 100% reimbursed by the federal government. So it gets really weird. We have 400 employees, but we only got enough money to pay about 50. So the investment that you're making in your National Guard, there's a huge federal component to that comes back and we think pays off pretty well. Next slide, Eric. This gives you just a pictograph, because I'm a picture guy, of how many full-timers versus part-timers. And each one of these little icons on the screen is representing 100 people. And the orange ones are the state employees. The green ones on the left are the full-time federally funded but under state control Army National Guard full-time force, and the blue ones on the bottom, the Air National Guard full-time force, and then the traditional guardsmen represented to the right. Now let's go to the next slide. We actually have 63 different armories located in 58 communities, plus 2 Army aviation flight facilities, 2 Air Force bases, and a couple of field maintenance shops that are located all around the state. These are generally 50-50 maintenance with the federal government and the state, unless their field maintenance shops are 100% federally funded. And interestingly, a lot of resources at Camp Ripley that I'll talk about in a minute. Let's go to the next slide here. So this is the Adjutant General's vision, and that's enough time on that because you guys all get it. It's very important for us to fight and win the nation's wars, and these are his 3 priorities. So his first priority, you see those represented with the icons: people, modernization, and partnerships. And we'll talk about those. And then we've got communicate across the bottom that's important. People are at the center of the organization. They're the most important thing to the National Guard, because if we don't have people, we got nothing. Particularly because, for the most part, the Army looks at the Army as a bunch of people, whereas the other service components look at their services as a bunch of stuff that have people attached to it. Airplanes that have pilots, ships that have sailors, but the Army really is about people. And so the basic part of our culture in the Army National Guard and the National Guard generally rotates around the people and how important they are, because without them we have nothing. Next slide. Modernization is very important because that's how we maintain our relevance, and it also is important to protect our people when they're deployed overseas. And this is an area that the Adjutant General has taken very seriously as a priority imperative, and we've been very successful working with the federal government to emphasize how important fielding new equipment is to the units of the Minnesota National Guard. And let's go next slide. So this is my Catholic guilt slide. I wanted to make everyone here understand that the federal government is investing very, very heavily in the Minnesota National Guard to the tune of $2.4 billion worth of equipment in the next few years. That's a lot of money. There's a lot of service that goes with those, and that's a lot of economic impact in Minnesota. At Camp Ripley, at our field maintenance shops, at our 2 wings in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and in Duluth. And those things are very important for the long-term health of Minnesota's economy. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go a little deeper. So, next slide. We also think our partnerships are incredibly important. And on this slide on the bottom, a number of state agencies and organizations that we work with very closely, along with the Federal Corps of Engineers. But particularly at Camp Ripley, our centralized Minnesota training base, we have great relationships with the Department of Natural Resources, who have a presence on Camp Ripley full-time, the Department of Public Safety, also a full-time presence on Camp Ripley, and part-time use by other state agencies, notably the Department of Transportation, who every year before the snow falls goes up and does their snowplow drivers training, saving the lives of innocent mailboxes all over the state, because they make their mistakes at Camp Ripley on our private roads rather than out in the public on those roads, putting people in danger. So we think it's a very important aspect of that. We also work closely with other state government agencies. The Department of Corrections does training up at Camp Ripley using our facilities to do things that it would be difficult for them to do in their prisons. So anyway, great thing that we have with other state government agencies, and also local law enforcement, because many of our federally funded training resources at Camp Ripley are allowed to be used for other than military training when the time is available. And so we have a massive investment by the United States Army into the ranges at Camp Ripley that we get extra use by local law enforcement, by firefighters, by emergency responders at Camp Ripley at very minimal or no cost to use those facilities. Next slide. Some of our international partnerships, and these are driven by the Department of Defense, but not our oldest one, but maybe our most significant one for the last few years, has been our partnership with Croatia. So the federal government established a thing called the State Partnership Program. It was established to help bring stability to the former Warsaw Pact countries. And they felt that establishing partnerships between these emerging free nations and the National Guard would be less threatening to the Russians than would be active army affiliations. And our partnership was chosen with Croatia. Might have something to do with the fact that a guy named Perpic left office here and went over there as an ambassador or working for the government in Croatia. But anyway, it's been a great opportunity for us to work with the Croatian armed forces, Army and Air, and to kind of help them into NATO membership and into some other things. And it's been a wonderful way for us to influence that part of the world and meet some of our federal objectives that are kind of provided to us by the Department of State and the Department of Defense. Next slide. Our oldest and newest partnership is with Norway. In 1974, a handshake agreement between the Adjutant General and the commander of the Norwegian Home Guard resulted in us beginning a Norwegian reciprocal troop exchange that we've been conducting ever since then, with one exception: we missed a COVID year. But since 1974, we've been flying about 100 U.S. soldiers and airmen over to Norway and about 100 Norwegian members of the Home Guard over to Minnesota, and they've been conducting this reciprocal exchange ever since then. It's established in long relationships with the leadership in the Norwegian Army, and that resulted in an escalation of that to it's not really a change, but it's an addition. We now have Norway as a state partner, much as we did Croatia. That's been very interesting for us because obviously Norway is a lot more developed than Croatia was or is, and so our relationship has been a little bit different. In fact, from our perspective, it's very interesting because the Norwegians are actually flying newer aircraft than we are, and we've almost reversed the position of we were helping the Croatians, showing them how to buy Black Hawk helicopters and Bradley fighting vehicles, and now the Norwegians are kind of helping us get ready for transition to F-35s and C-130Js. So it's been an interesting juxtaposition of our understanding of the state partnership. It really uses the word partnership in a better way. And we really do think that these relationships are very important to security in the globe, and that was really demonstrated when Russia invaded Ukraine, because the Ukrainian armed forces didn't reach out to anybody in the Department of Defense. They reached out to the California National Guard because that's who they knew. And almost all of the initial communication between the Ukrainian armed forces and the DoD came from the California National Guard because those trusted relationships were established. And it was a very interesting time. All right, let's go next slide. So quickly, the units of the National Guard, there's a lot of them. I'm only going to talk about some big ones. Next slide. Our Joint Force Headquarters is the headquarters of the National Guard. It really is only about 350 people. The Camp Ripley Training Center is actually more than that, and that is kind of the crown jewel of resourcing in the Minnesota National Guard. We have two wings, the 133rd Airlift Wing flying C-130 H-3s out of Minneapolis-St. Paul, and the 148th Fighter Wing flying F-16 Block 50s. They are actually the newest F-16s in the United States Air Force inventory. They are not anywhere near the newest F-16s because there have been a lot of nations buying airplanes since we quit buying F-16s. But our fighter wing flies the newest F-16s in the Air Force inventory. Both of those fighter wings are about 1,000 people, good rough order of magnitude. We have the headquarters of the 34th Infantry Division here in Arden Hills. That's about a 550 or 600 person unit that does command and control, and recently returned from a deployment where they conducted that wartime mission in the United States Central Command area of responsibility. I think I'm getting ahead of myself on the slides, but I'll talk about it now. Where they were the senior United States Army representatives in that theater, and the CENTCOM area of responsibility is, let's call it the Middle East. So a pretty high adventure state, and a lot of things that happened during their deployment that they were responsible for coordinating not only U.S. activities, but also multinational activities during that time. So we're really glad to have them back. They just returned back here about a month ago, and they're doing their first post-deployment drill coming up. The 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team is about a 5,000 soldier unit that is here in Minnesota. They're one of the largest maneuver units of the 34th Infantry Division. The 34th Expeditionary, no longer Expeditionary, Combat Aviation Brigade. They fly helicopters here in Minnesota. The 347th Regional Support Group is another divisional unit. It's about 300 people in a headquarters and a few units that comprise about 500 more soldiers 84th Troop Command has a number of smaller units, and then we have our own regional training institute that is headquartered at Camp Ripley. Next slide. So Camp Ripley, an absolute jewel. It's available for all state government agencies, also for local government agencies to use. It's the result of the vision of a very wise man named Ellard A. Walsh, who was the Adjutant General in Minnesota in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. He was a World War I veteran of the National Guard who understood when he came back from World War I that Camp Lakeview was not going to make it for future training of large armed forces. And he worked very closely with the legislature to establish Camp Ripley, not coincidentally centrally located in Minnesota. And we're really glad he did. 53,000-acre training site. We can do mounted maneuver up to platoon legitimately and somewhat to company level. We can basically do everything at Camp Ripley except drop bombs on it. It's not big enough to do that, but we drop bombs in Wisconsin, which we think is okay. Next slide. So the Department of Military Affairs is the state agency that is tasked to support and oversee the National Guard when it's in state service. The Adjutant General is the commissioner of the agency. I should have done this at the beginning, but so I enlisted in the Minnesota National Guard in October 1979. And I served militarily until 2006 when I retired and became a state employee. I'm sorry, 2008. And I retired and became a state employee. So I've been engaged, other than 5 years of that, I spent on active duty with the Minnesota Department of Military Affairs since October 1979 to present, so kind of a long time. Anyway, I'm the senior civilian executive of the agency. I help the Adjutant General run the agency, oversee the civilian part, do liaison with folks like you. And yeah, let's go next slide. So here's a little slide on our deployment. So soldiers from the 34th Infantry Division headquarters, 200 communities throughout Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, North and South Dakota, and several other states. These are all members of the Minnesota Guard, though. So we do have folks who are not Minnesota citizens that are members of your Minnesota National Guard, just as we have Minnesotans who are members of the Iowa and Wisconsin and North Dakota National Guard. But they come together and mobilize when necessary. But they provided that command and control, a Task Force Spartan from Kuwait, and they were deployed across 7 partner nations. Next slide. 148th Fighter Wing also did a fairly recent deployment that was a little bit less publicized, but they spend periodic periods sitting alert in various places around the globe. This most recent one was to Okinawa, and it was a long deployment for them and very important to stability in that part of the world. These rotations come frequently, and our soldiers and airmen always perform really well when they do them. Next slide. Upcoming deployments, I put this slide in mostly for future reference. Interestingly, at least to me, we just checked, and we have right now just about 100 members of the Minnesota National Guard who are deployed someplace not around here. And that's a really low number for the last 20 years. That's going to go back up here because we got a couple of big ones coming. You can see out there in 27, about 1,128 with another 1,128 right on the heels of that. Those are 2 rotations to a similar mission. So that's going to be a significant emotional event for us. And then, well, it's a significant emotional event for anybody, I guess, when you're deploying. So those guys in the 34th MP Company will be the next ones up. So next slide, please. This is in here for your reference. So I talked about the state part of what the National Guard does. These are depicted as man days in which the governor has called the National Guard out to perform service in support of the state of Minnesota. And you can see this is a weird thing to try to forecast how much money we need to set aside, because we go from 40 folks in 2008 to 59,000 or 82,000, I guess, in 2020 for COVID response. So you'll see part of our budget, there's an emergency response component to that. And that number is kind of a made-up number. MMB determines that based on, we look at the last 8 years, throw out the high and the low, and then average them. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But at any rate, it's not really a problem for the committee because the emergency appropriation is an open appropriation. But we do try to manage it, and MMB tries to manage it to try to figure out how that impacts the forecast. So next slide, please. So here we go, budget financial impact. This actually came from the House. The House did in one of their unofficial meetings, I guess, did a little response for us. And we've been struggling with this because, frankly, Mr. Chair, our budget used to be really simple. It was pretty much, here's what it is this year and here's much we want next year. But it got weird here a couple of years ago because we had a couple of things going in. So this slide depicted it fairly well. In the last session, we were appropriated, I will call an extra $14 million for the Minnesota Military and Veterans Museum in the general fund, and $17.6 million one-time funding for an Army Combat Fitness Test Center that we're in the process of building at Arden Hills. So those were very important, but they kind of skew the numbers way out of whack if you start looking at what the norms are. But this gives you an idea of how our base changes. So you'll see there's a drop in the base from 2024-25 to 2026-27, and then a modest jump there going out, and then a big drop in the base and in the enlistment incentives appropriation. And that's kind of been an ongoing thing. We typically come before the legislature and ask for more money in enlistment incentives, and generally the way the math works out, well, we can give it to you this biennium, but we can't put it in the tails. And so every 2 years, we're back in here with the same song and dance telling you, we really need more money to get us back up to where we started from. And that's what we're going to do again this year. So you do see the emergency services budget down there. That number is kind of inconsequential, but it does fit into the big spreadsheet in the sky, so I'm sure Andrew would appreciate that being there. Next slide, please. This is our request that has been supported by the governor. So we're asking for a $2 million increase in enlistment incentives in 26 and a $6 million increase, so 8 for the biennium in enlistment incentives, and that will allow us to continue to provide our state tuition reimbursement program, and maybe it may allow us to turn our enlistment incentives back on for our re-enlistment bonuses. And I'll talk about that here in an upcoming slide. We also got added to our budget in the last biennium a cyber coordination cell. And that cyber coordination cell was brought on to do exactly what it sounds like. I don't know, it's a bad analogy because nobody gets it. But we saw a gap between what information we were receiving on the military side about cyber threats and what information was being provided on the civilian side, because the military is weird about stuff. They don't want to tell anybody anything. And we saw an opportunity to perhaps coordinate between civilian agencies and military agencies by having a foot in both camps. And we stood that cell up. It's 5 folks, and it's been extremely effective in establishing relationships with military, civilian, law enforcement, and commercial enterprise cyber or internet providers, internet operators, that has been very effective in improving communications in those realms, and we think lowering the general cyber threat in Minnesota. So do you think that's an important deal? And we're asking for additional funding to get that up. There was a little bit of money in the tails for that coming up, but not enough, and so this is an increase to bring that up to the appropriate level so we can continue that activity. The other one that we have here is holistic health and fitness, and some of the veterans of the committee will understand what this is, but the Army has set up a program called the Holistic Health and Fitness Program that basically expands on the way the Army looks at fitness and goes from not just how many push-ups and sit-ups you can do, but also whether we can do physical therapy to improve your knees to maybe allow you to serve longer, so that we aren't taking the investment that we've made in these individuals, which is ridiculously large amounts of money that we're spending to qualify people who have to meet the same standards as their active component counterparts. And then if we have a pilot with a knee problem saying, well, even though we've invested many millions of dollars in you, we aren't going to spend $20 to see if we can send you to a physical therapist to fix your knee. So anyway, holistic health and fitness has stood up. The Army is going to roll it out. We asked to get a head start on that, and we think that also has been a very effective program. We have been told that we will be receiving money in federal fiscal year 26 to be able to release the state funding from this thing. So we're asking for 1 more year's worth of funding to be able to bridge us into that federal funding so we can continue the program at the level that we were currently operating. And then a small operating adjustment, $200,000 in 26 and $400,000 in 27, and I think it stays at that level in the tails after that for moving on. So next slide. So there we go. That's what the totals look like. And one more slide. So this is a little bit more detail into the incentives program and why this is so important to us. The crown jewel here is our state tuition reimbursement program. Right now, if you enlist in the Minnesota National Guard, Army, or Air, we will pay 100% of your tuition at any accredited university, trade school, pick your poison, anything that's accredited, we'll do that. It's been a great enlistment incentive. It gives us a real competitive edge in a very, very difficult recruiting market that we've still been very successful in. We also added the state re-enlistment bonus, and I'll show you some of the results of that. A couple of other things that over the years we've asked for reclassification bonus. I think Senator Anderson actually carried our reclassification bonus legislation about 10 years ago. That's been a very effective program for us. And we have a medic recertification bonus. Let's go to the next slide. I want to talk about the state reenlistment bonus. So again, I mentioned it's a very competitive recruiting market out there. One of the ways we can offset our requirement for recruits is to retain the soldiers and airmen that we have. And these reenlistment bonuses have resulted in, as you can see, an awful lot of people who have decided to continue to serve in the National Guard. 149 total in 22, 835 in 23, over 1,000 in 24. Our number is down in 25 because we had to turn this program off because we are concerned that we were going to spend more money than you were going to give us. So until we get the enlistment incentives appropriation squared away, we've got to turn that thing off for a little bit, and that's what's laying around out there. Next slide. So I talked about the cyber coordination cell again. I'll let you peruse that at your leisure. Next slide. Did that one too. Next slide. One policy initiative coming this year, Mr. Chair, and that is one that's a recycle from last year that I don't think was heard in the Senate. There's a thing called the Minnesota State Armory Building Commission. It's a statutory corporation that has bonding authority. It's chaired by the Adjutant General, comprised of the Adjutant General and 3 field grade officers of the Minnesota National Guard. And their purpose is to be able to have funds available so that we can match federal funding to build new armories. The challenge with coming to the legislature is the predictability of when a bonding bill will or will not pass. We have challenges with predictability on the federal government as well, but what you were trying to get us to do there was catch lightning in 2 bottles in the same hand at the same time. And having the State Armory Building Commission really takes some of the question mark out of where that is. And so typically what you will see is our bonding requests will come in from bonding requests to do renovations, but our new construction is handled by the State Armory Building Commission. Currently, they're capped at $15 million worth of bonding authority. That was okay until about 10 years ago when the cost of construction started to go through the roof. And our analysis is that we probably need to raise that limit to about $45 million. That will allow us to construct multiple armories at the same time on a cycle that we can expect from the federal government, and it should be okay. Next slide. We will have one capital budget request. It's a refire from last year. Part of the strategy for modernization is to demonstrate to the federal government that we have skin in the game, and we feel that it's important for us to take a hard look at Duluth to make them competitive for replacing their F-16 someday, and going out for hangar design funding is important to us. We think it's a very nominal investment that the state could make, and the beauty of it is, under the current rule set, if we have the design, that makes it eligible for consideration as a congressionally directed spending project on the federal side. If it's not designed, it's not able to compete. And so we think that this is a great investment. If we get it designed, we may come back to the legislature to try to build it if we're unsuccessful federally, but it gives us some options, and we think that this $3 million investment in the bonding bill would be very worthwhile. Next slide. Got to get close. There we are. Mr. Chair, I tried to rush through it pretty quickly. Any questions from you or the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Kerr. That was impressive. That was a tremendous amount of information. And you gave it to us with remarkable efficiency. So well done. Take a breath. Have a drink of water if you like. Members, do you have any questions for Mr. Kerr? Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Kerr, you went over the major subordinate commands that you have, and I don't remember if you mentioned the 133rd Airlift Wing as to how many people units are there. When I was there, it was, well, I'll let you decide what you have right now, but I remember how many we had at the time. So, and they were all basically saying 110% of whatever. And so I'm just curious.
Mr. Kerr.
Mr. Chair, we use rough order of magnitude at both wings of 1,000. It's really, I think it's about 1,030 right now at the 133rd, but I'll get the exact number and get that back to you, Senator. Interestingly, we have a lot more flexibility on the Army side to overdrive, and that's made the Minnesota Army National Guard incredibly successful because we've typically run between 110 and 120%. and having an extra 20% laying around when you need to do a mobilization makes it a lot easier to fill the Johnny didn't tell us he broke his leg last week slots that come up. The Air Guard is managed much more intensively at the national level, and they actually cap the number that we can put in. So we are targeting to get to 104%. We're at about 101% in the Air Guard right now, the last time I checked. But it's going to be right around that 1,000 is a good rough order of magnitude number in the 133rd Airlift Wing.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Thank you very much, Colonel Othman and Mr. Darkare, for your, again, thorough presentation. We'll have more questions some other day, I'm sure. But for now, you're off the hook. Thanks a ton.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Our next order of business is an overview of the Commander's Task Force. Dr. Janingo, if you'll please step to the table, and Dr. Moon as well, if you'll please state your full names for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Good afternoon, committee chairs and members. I'm Dr. Carl R. Moon. I am the department commander for the American Legion for 2024-25, and I'm also the chairman of the Commander's Task Force for Minnesota. I spent 8 years in the Air Force as an optometrist, got out, didn't know what I wanted to do, and after 20 years at the St. Cloud VA, I retired in 2020. My wife said, "You need to get a job." I've been home for 5 years, and she said, "You need to do something," so here I am.
All right, Mr. Chair, I'm Christy Janigo. I'm the American Legion Department of Minnesota Legislative Chair. I am also the Minnesota Association of County Veteran Service Officers Legislative Chair, which we'll get into a little bit down the road here. So the Minnesota Commander's Task Force is comprised of 8 congressionally chartered veteran service organizations. You can see the logo of each right here. And I forgot, I'm also a Army National Guard veteran. I'm 3rd generation Army, go Army. My granddad served in the Army in Okinawa in World War II, and my uncle served in the Army in Vietnam. So you just met Dr. Moon. This is our state commander for the VFW, David Stalin. This is the state commander for the DAV, Othar Martin. And all the details here just talk a little bit about what each organization stands for, and you can find this information on each website there. The Jewish War Veterans is currently led by Stuart Mednick. The Military Order of Purple Heart commander is David Bellis. And the department commander of the AMVETS is John Flores. The Marine Corps League department commander Andrew McCormick. And the Paralyzed Veterans of America, Vicki Garrison. We work very closely with our partners at the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs, and we also coordinate very closely with the Minnesota Association of County Veteran Service Officers. So we do have both parties in attendance each time that we meet. And so our legislative agendas are kind of formulated together. The Commander's Task Force, if they put something on its legislative agenda, they're all on the same page. So we can't have any priority on the CTF agenda that one organization doesn't stand for. This year we are supporting a kind of truncated agenda. It's 5 key items. The reason for this is because we wanted to pick 5 items that we believe very strongly in and put all of our force behind them. So the first one is, again, standing for a separate Veterans Omnibus Bill. The first one took place in 2022. That was a great day. I remember standing near Governor Walz when he signed that bill into law. So that has separated veterans legislation from any partisan trading, and we still believe in this initiative, similar to what you'd get in an ag bill, a tax bill, or transportation omnibus bill. We believe very much in our Veterans Omnibus Bill. Priority number 2 is hunting, fishing, and trapping for veterans. So when we look at other states known for their outdoor activities like hunting and fishing, we do see benefits intended to show appreciation and get veterans back into the outdoors. So hunting, fishing, and trapping can be very beneficial to the mental health. And for veterans, that's kind of how we connect with one another and connect with the great outdoors. So for a really long time, the CTF has been working on this issue, and we'd love to see this pass this year. So we're asking you to support changing the Minnesota DNR licenses for veterans service-connected at 50% or greater for a disability with the Federal Veterans Benefits Administration to a greatly reduced cost license. I know the slide here says $3, but the negotiations with the DNR, it's kind of looking like it's landing around the $5 mark instead. Another thing that we're standing for is to recognize all veterans in Minnesota. So the ones that come in from other states to hunt, fish, or trap, we would love to see those veterans get resident prices for licensing when they are in our state. Another state that does this is Texas. Priority number 3 is to modernize the disabled market value exclusion. We have kind of 2 components to this, the veterans piece and the surviving spouse piece. So the veterans piece is increasing the cap to the exclusion. You've seen bills to this effect in the past, where at the 70% to 100% service-connected rating, we'd like to see this increase from $150,000 to $200,000 value. And then at that upper level, the 100% permanent total service connection, we'd like to see that raised from $300,000 to $400,000. We'd like to index that to inflation so that we're not back here a few years down the road. And then there are some technical changes that we'd like to see tweaked regarding a person's character of service to kind of remove that from the state statutes, and that's already been adjudicated at the federal level through the granting of the VA disability compensation benefits. The surviving spouses piece, there's several areas that we want to see change this year because we have seen surviving spouses lose their benefits, sadly. So one thing that we've been living with for a long time, which when this was originally passed, was the equal or lesser clause. Essentially now if a surviving spouse downsizes, more often than not, the new home that's smaller is going to be more expensive. If they do that, they then lose their benefit because the value is higher. So we'd like to fix that. We'd also like to allow for active duty spouses to apply for the exclusion when they return to Minnesota after the death of a veteran. So right now you can't do that. We have had surviving spouses who came home after losing their loved one and they were not able to obtain the benefit. And then finally, allowing surviving spouses to remarry and retain the benefit. We do think that the veteran, if they've passed, would want their spouse to remarry and be happy. And so we think this is in line with the wishes of the veterans. This one's a big one, and I'm very excited about this one because this crosses very strongly into what I do for my day job, which is Assistant County Veteran Service Officer. So the Minnesota Claim Shark Bill. You may have heard about action on this bill at the federal level. I believe they also called it claim sharks or claim predators at the federal level. We've not seen much significant action on this at the federal level, so some states are starting to take this issue into their own hands. So we have seen a claim shark bill out of New Jersey, also our partners in North Dakota. Essentially what this does is this is a fraud prevention measure, and it is also extending the disclosure statute that we have to include language for VA accreditation. So we're asking for folks who proceed to represent a veteran on VA benefits matters to simply obtain VA accreditation. What that usually looks like, it's some training modules that the VA offers, some on-the-job training, and some VA forms that a person would have to fill out to be able to appear on the VA Office of General Counsel as an attorney, as a VSO representative, someone representing a veteran on their claims matter. So this is great. We have heard that this is part of the governor's budget package under the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. So we think this will have a lot of support. The CTF supports it, as does MAC VSO. The final priority under the Commander's Task Force is food insecurity. So you all have funded the Metro Meals on Wheels program, and as a county veteran service officer, I can tell you that it's been a great tool to be able to get someone set up with Meals on Wheels, especially right after they're exiting homelessness. So I've personally filled out a lot of applications like this at work. Right now, we don't have that asset in the rural part of the state, maybe as much as we should. So we're asking for a $500,000 a year appropriation to fund LSS Core to deliver this service. And the reason why we recommend LSS Core is because the infrastructure is already there, and they've been doing this work since the beginning of 2024. So it's simply an expansion and kind of a ramping up of capacity, if you will, to be able to deliver these healthy meals in a discreet way in rural communities where people really know each other very well. This helps preserve the dignity of a veteran who, you know, veterans don't like to ask for help. And it also ensures healthy food for them versus, you know, the standard fare that you can find at a food shelf isn't always the most healthy. All right, and with that, I'll pass it off to John Baker, who is the Executive Director for the Minnesota Association of County Veteran Service Officers.
If I can, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. My name is John Baker. As Dr. Janigo said, I am the Executive Director of the Minnesota Association of County Veteran Service Officers. I represent about 165 county veteran service officers around the state. You know, all 87 counties have at least one county veteran service officer. I personally am retired from the United States Marine Corps. I spent 22 years in the Marine Corps. I am a Beirut peacekeeping mission. I struggled with that because we always struggled with what that was back in 1983 when we got attacked. I am a first Gulf War vet. I'm also an attorney. When I retired, I went to law school. I chaired the initiative to start veteran courts in Minnesota back in 2008, and we started our first veteran court in Hennepin County in 2010. I'm also a retired professor of criminal justice at St. Cloud State University. I retired from St. Cloud State in 2023 when they did their first round of cutbacks. In October 2023, I then took this position. I'm the first executive director of the Minnesota Association of County Veteran Service Officers. The CVSOs have been around for a long time. The CVSO Association has been around since about 1943. They were legislated by Minnesota statute to essentially assist veterans all around the state of Minnesota. We are, as of 2015, we are a 501c4, a nonprofit. Again, 1948, the first CVSOs in the state of Minnesota were World War I veterans that came back from that war. Many of them suffered from the gas, which my grandfather fought in the trenches of World War I, died at the age of 50 from mustard gas poisoning. So I know that well in my family. So we have, as of today, now we have a very, very diverse organization. We have, again, county veteran service officers all over the state of Minnesota. We have most of our county veteran service officers now are what I call OIF, OEF veterans. They are this generation of veterans that fought in these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and are a very powerful group of men and women that are helping veterans throughout the state of Minnesota. So what I say, and I know we're going to run out of time here really quickly, so I'm going to say this. Our CVSOs in the state of Minnesota are the boots on the ground. They are the go-to individuals for just about anybody, any veteran, and their family members. And I'm really going to emphasize that because one of the issues we have with the number of CVSOs in the state and in the way they count their work in counties is by the veterans in that jurisdiction. And it's not just veterans that CVSOs deal with, they deal with family members. And they are the boots on the ground. They are the ones that, for a veteran coming out of the military, a CVSO is going to be that first person that they're going to go to get connected with the federal VA. at any time throughout their life, they are going to be the first ones, the go-to to assist them getting veterans benefits. Our CVSOs, in the way I look at our organization, we assist our CVSOs throughout the state. We help get them trained. We work with our partners at the MDVA and the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, which I'll talk a little bit more here in a bit. Any CVSO does the accreditation. Any CVSO, so there's two requirements to be a CVSO. You have to be accredited with the Office of General Counsel, with the federal VA. You also have to be a veteran to have that job. It's one of the few county jobs. CVSOs are also hired by their county boards, and their salaries are paid for by their county boards. The legislature, through the MDVA, does provide grants to assist them in their offices to do their work, but their salary is paid for by the county boards, which is an unusual arrangement. And just about any other government, federal government benefit, Social Security, any other type of government benefit, the feds provide block grants to states to help somebody get Social Security disability, for example. Our CVSOs do not get federal money to provide a federal benefit for our veterans in the state of Minnesota. It's a little unusual thing. We've got one of the bills in Congress, it's called the CVSO Act, is to provide that federal funding. We're still working on that act. Not all states have CVSOs. I would proud to say that we have probably one of the best CVSO system in the country. Dr. Moon is shaking his head that his experience working with the legions around the country, that we have really good and well-trained CVSOs. I will tell you also, and part of our job, we provide the training for CVSOs. We advocate with our national partners. We work with our nonprofits throughout the state, and we advocate at the state and federal level for legislation for CVSOs. We've got NACVSO, which I'm proud to say, the president of the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers is from Waseca, Chris Hinton. He's been the president of the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers for a couple years now. So we have well-connected CVSOs at the federal level as well. So I just want to talk about and get into what some of the services that we provide. We provide advocacy for veterans and their families. We provide information to them. We network with organizations. We work with our legions, VFWs. We'll tell you a lot of times, and I see this many times with a legion club. For example, I live in North St. Paul, and they just had a veteran that was in crisis, and the first place that they always go to is a CVSO. And then a CVSO, if they can't get that veteran some help, they'll go to that local Legion club that they can authorize some money as well. But it's usually the CVSO who's going to work with our partners at MACV. If it's a homeless veteran, if there's some food insecurity, they're going to take care of that. And again, the CVSO is the boots on the ground for that. So they provide the first contact for disability compensation, veteran pension, survivor pension, VA health care. They'll get them into the VA healthcare system, combat veteran reintegration program, and on down the line, reemployment and everything like that. And then finally, burial benefits. So we have our legislative platform, which has been provided to you as well. It mirrors, for the most part, the CTF. One of our biggest thing is the Claim Shark Act. And I will tell you, just to add some color to that, I got a call from one of my CVSOs in Faribault County here a couple weeks ago, and she just got contacted by the family of a 90-year-old recently widowed spouse. Her husband was a Korea War veteran, and she got contacted by an organization that said, hey, pay us all this money and we will get your husband all the burial benefits that he rates as a veteran. We'll get him into a veteran cemetery. We'll assist with all that. And guess what? None of that costs any money. This is what a claim shark will do. The PACT Act, which was recently signed by Congress just a couple years ago, was probably the biggest change in federal veteran benefits since 1945, when the GI Bill was enacted. This is probably one of the biggest expansions in VA benefits. And guess what's going to come with that? Because there is a ton of money coming from the feds in this. There's going to be people with, all these dollar signs saying, hey, we can make a lot of money with this. And this is what we're trying to prevent. This falls squarely into the fraud issue that I know this body is really concerned with, and this is what we are concerned with. We see this every day. I, as a veteran, I drank the water in Camp Lejeune, and I will tell you that I get hit almost on a daily basis if I've drank the water, and I can contract with this law firm or this other entity, pay them X amount of dollars, and they will get me apparently what I deserve from drinking the water at Camp Lejeune. Well, all of these services are provided for free from a county veteran service officer. So this is, we've got this throughout the state of Minnesota going on. What really pains me is to hear a 90-year-old widowed veteran that's going to be taken advantage of. And she didn't know any difference. It wasn't until she paid the money and then her kids came in and found out that this was going on. The other thing that we really want to push for this year, so when I came on board in October of 2023, one of the things that I saw, and part of it was my conversation with Dr. Janigo, who is a Hennepin County Veteran Service Officer. She also, at that time, was running the Justice Involved program in Hennepin County, which is our largest veteran court in the state of Minnesota. And she said something very interesting to me. She said at the time, John, I'm dealing with justice-involved veterans, and I like to call them justice-involved veterans because that can be a variety of different ways. They may not be involved in a veteran court yet, and we don't have veteran courts in all 87 counties in the state, nor do we need a veteran court in all 87 counties, but we need veteran court protocol, or alternatively, we need county veteran service officers that know how to deal with justice-involved veterans. And when I came on board, Dr. Janigo told me that, it's incredible. I've been doing this job for a couple of years now. I know how to do disability benefits. I know how to get a veteran into the healthcare system. But she said, justice-involved veterans end up being the most involved veterans I'm dealing with. The next thing she told me is that county veteran service officers are ill-prepared to deal with justice-involved veterans. And I thought that was absolutely remarkable. Because I just got a contact from our Lake County veteran service officer this morning saying, John, we don't have a veteran court up here in Lake County, and we haven't dealt with veterans, justice-involved veterans in years. But guess what? I've got 3 of them now. And guess who the county attorney is contacting? They're contacting me as the CVSO, what's available in the state of Minnesota. So what we created within our MACVSO was technical assistance coordinators. And this, for those in the military, this is what we do in the military. We create technical experts in their field that will go out and train other folks, kind of like train the trainer. And so we developed this. Dr. Janigo went to a conference last year, got some additional training. So she's our go-to person when a county veteran service officer, say in Lackaproil County, who maybe is not dealing with a justice-involved veteran, but maybe 2 or 3 times a year, they can go to Dr. Janigo to get that assistance in figuring out how do we deal with the justice-involved veterans. The other 2 areas that we found were suicide prevention, which unquestionably we don't do enough with justice-involved, with suicide-involved veterans. By the way, justice-involved veterans, usually that justice-involved veteran also doesn't have a job, so that CVSO is going to help them get a job. They have higher rate of suicidal ideation. They're probably having some family issues and a whole variety of issues. And many times they're not, I always say the first call for help from a veteran in crisis many times comes from a backseat of a squad car. Because veterans, as Dr. Janigo said earlier, veterans, it's hard to ask for help. You know, we are, as a tough combat Marine, it's zero defect mentality. I'm not going to go out and ask for help. It's when we get to that low point when we need some help, and when we're in that backseat of the squad car, and then we need that CVSO to help us. The third area was women veterans. We don't do enough with women veterans, so we created a technical assistance program for women veterans, and Jenna Schmidtke out of Faribault County, who's also the NACVSO Women Veteran Coordinator as well. So CVSO Jenna Schmidtke can provide some help for a CVSO, say, in greater Minnesota that doesn't deal with a lot of women veterans, but maybe a women veteran that comes to that CVSO office will feel safer, will feel better if they can work with somebody that's like-minded, that has been in their position. So that's one of the reasons that we created that as well. So that's our number one priority this year, is to provide $20,000 each for our technical assistance coordinators, to provide them with some training and like technology, a computer, something like that, so they can go out and assist our CVSOs throughout the state of Minnesota. Again, we do a great job of training our CVSOs to do that direct benefit, the VA disability, but when you get to the outlier stuff, the justice-involved veterans, women veterans, suicide prevention, we don't provide enough services, and that's, again, why we're asking for funding. And, you know, again, we don't get federal funding for CVSOs to provide these services, which, again, is unique in federal government stuff for this. So that's what we're looking at. So it's the technical assistance coordinators. We also are supporting the state offset for property tax. That the governor, I know last year, one of the issues with the property tax exemption, some of our counties were advocating not to provide this property tax exemption for veterans, because it's some of our counties, some of our smaller counties will say this is a state mandate, unfunded mandate for us to provide this offset, whereas and our argument back is, well, there's how many veterans do you actually have in that county? But the government, the governor has said that he would be willing to provide a state offset for this. I know the Association of Minnesota Counties has had difficulty with this, but with a state offset, they would be on board with this as well. You want to talk about this, Dr. Janigo? This is more in your area.
Yes. Mr. Chair, this is a relatively basic bill. It simply adds to our CVSO statute the ability of a county or local assessor to disclose private data to the CVSO. So right now you can see the language is already there for the other way, but we want a two-way communication. In the assessor's chapter, state statute, this two-way communication does exist, but we have had county veteran service officers get denied data that they really needed to help assist a veteran with property-related issues that they couldn't because the permissive language wasn't there. So we're simply asking for a sentence of permissive language for data sharing.
And then that last one. Yeah.
And the next one is very straightforward as well. This is also dealing with making it unlawful for a government service officer to charge a person to receive benefit support. Striking these four words, if you read the language directly as is, it kind of looks like a person who gets charged unlawfully would be liable for a misdemeanor. So we'd just like to wipe that off the books so that there isn't any chance that a person could get charged for being victimized under someone's bad behavior.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Chair. Thank you.
Thank you all for such a thorough and edifying presentation. Members, do we have questions? Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. Just a quick one, and thank you all for the information you provided and for being here this evening. I thought under the Minnesota Commanders Task Force legislative priorities, I might see something about charitable gambling. Just curious to get your thoughts from those organizations as it relates to that issue still. Is it something they're still looking for help with, still an issue for them, and something we should be mindful of and trying to try to fix or find a way to offset some of that lost revenue? Thank you.
Dr. Janico.
Mr. Chair, Senator Duckworth, so I'm the gambling queen. I am the American Legion Department of Minnesota's legislative chair, and that's where you'll find the gambling issue front and center. So as I had explained earlier, the Commanders Task Force all has to agree to a legislative priority, and some of those organizations don't have gambling, where in contrast, the Legion is one of the biggest entities that has gambling. If you look at the GCB's reporting, our posts constitute the majority of gambling entities. So we definitely need our tax cuts desperately. We're hoping for 40 to 60 million in tax cuts, whatever you want to give us. We just really need to have that money back in our post pockets so that they can serve their communities adequately. The needs have just gone up so much in terms of homelessness. You know, we talked about justice involvement, food insecurity. These are all issues that I, as a county veteran service officer, cannot possibly solve with federal, state, nonprofit benefits. I have to tap every single resource available to me, and sometimes that will mean going to multiple legions or VFWs to ask for funding. So thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Duckworth.
Thank you very much for that answer, and I may suggest you change your title on here from now on to Gambling Queen, because that's a good one. But I appreciate your share that information with us, and Mr. Chair, I would just advise or recommend that we have a hearing to that effect sometime in the future, and that also we call upon the governor to help us solve that problem. He could play a pretty big role in that, and it's something that we should not lose sight of. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Duckworth. And actually on that front, Dr. Janico, I don't know if you know this, but you know, we did make some changes when we made the big change. And some of those changes were to increase revenue that would be going, capping the rental costs and those different kinds of things. Have you noticed any potential benefit from some of those other changes that were made along with the kind of more challenging one?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, those changes definitely have helped. The 1.5% tax cut that we got and the caps to the gaming fees. I think we haven't fully realized what impact those have had yet, and at the same time, we don't truly know what impact the changes to e-tabs, eliminating the bonus games, free plays, and open all feature. It's still a gray area for us. By our estimations, we have a lot more to lose than gain from that law that passed. So we do strongly stand by the fact that we really need some substantial and meaningful tax cuts versus the smaller ones that passed with the package a couple of years ago.
Thank you, Dr. Janico. And so, Senator Duckworth, I'll take that under advisement. We will do that. That's a pretty good idea for a Tommy. So well done. Members, any other questions? Thanks very much, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that was our last official order of business. I want to thank all of the testifiers today who were remarkably efficient and who did a wonderful job of introducing us to some of the complexities of the work that you're doing. And note that we're not done yet. We got a lot more questions for you moving forward, and we appreciate your help and your offers of continued assistance. We don't exactly know when our next hearing will be for Veterans Affairs. Assume it'll be in the next week and a half or so, but notice will be coming out as soon as we do. So until then, the committee is adjourned.